You won't believe it. This tale starts with 3 hate-filled bodies. The truth was hidden 12 years ago. Carl's team won't let it vanish. The sole suspect now is Tenant Charles, who discovered the bodies in the apartment. Clues reveal he's no ordinary man, he was a nurse. He wasn't fired due to loving nursing, but for some extreme acts. Then, he changed to work at a funeral home, surely knowing how to handle corpses. Stranger still, Charles vanished for years but keeps paying rent. Is he hiding the body's secret? After digging through the clues, it seems all evidence points to Charles, so the chief didn't waste any time issuing a warrant for his arrest. But puzzlingly, the killer doesn't seem to hide the victims' identities. Their licenses and health cards were found a truly clueless criminal. Apart from the second female victim with a slightly blurred ID, the other 2 victims' identities were confirmed. When the chief saw Philip's photo, the name rang a bell, then Cole unexpectedly reminded him. Turns out, this was the same Philip from a previous missing person case, and the chief suddenly realized that case wrapped up with proof but interestingly, soon after filing, Maya, Philip's wife, withdrew the case, saying Philip wasn't missing. She thinks he fled with his lover. Her story is clearly unreliable. Carl's team should find out what she knows. When they found Maya, she said she dropped the case after getting an email from Philip 2 weeks post his disappearance. In the email, Philip advised her not to seek him, claiming he vacationed with others. An escape artist. Meanwhile, Carl showed Maya Charles' info to see if there was any connection. Surprisingly, Maya actually found a clue. Maya told Carl that after the asylum closed, there were numerous lawsuits, and Philip was the defense attorney for one of those cases. How dramatic. But she couldn't recall the specifics since so much time has passed. At least Carl and the others can confirm Philip's death is likely tied. Subsequently, they returned to the precinct, and Detective Luss informed Carl that the last victim was identified as a person named Rita. Curiously, Luss checked all records but found no lawsuit against the asylum, a true disappearance record. Luss guessed Maya might be wrong, but as he left, he found Charles' Spanish address. Subtitles. Additionally, he also possessed a Spanish bank account, and that particular account was used to pay the rent every 6 months. Could it be that Charles is savoring an exotic life abroad? With this info, Carl deduced that after offing the 3 victims, Charles sealed their bodies in the walls and then fled to Spain. Then he pretended to be Philip sending that email to his wife, but if that's the case, what was Charles' motive? To uncover the truth of the case, Carl and the team must find a clue that connects Charles to all the victims. Subtitles. Even the very bank account they had managed to find had already been closed, and Carl suddenly realized that Charles must surely know the police are hot on his trail. So, the scene shifts to the next day, where Luss and his assistant finally link Charles to 2 of the corpses. These 2 corpses are linked to that women's asylum since they found that victims Nit and Rita had been patients there, but sadly, they still had no clue about the connection between Charles and Philip. Soon after, the 3 arrived at the old asylum site, a deserted little island. What a creepy place. They found the fat man who worked at the nursing home, and surprisingly, it's full of Angel's trumpet. The hefty guy said the girls on the island used to smoke Angel's trumpet like it was weed water mischievous fun. The effects are roughly similar to low doses of marijuana, so it's no wonder they were all hyped up. Then the hefty guy led them inside the asylum, chatting away like he was at a tavern. It seemed an asylum, but was like a prison, treating girls as inmates. The doctors acted like guards in this prison, keeping a bunch of free-spirited girls locked up. How unbelievable. These girls hadn't done anything wrong, yet they suffered endless torment, truly jaw-dropping. After the asylum closed, the local government never apologized to the girls, as it would harm their interests. The fat man continued, saying after the asylum closed, many lawsuits arose but were all coldly rejected by judges. So Carl's group found no asylum records in the precinct's database. Puzzling. Carl and his assistant teamed up to probe the National Archives, soon finding a record. The record states a female victim accused Dr. Court at the asylum, who was also the attorney for the 3 deceased. However, due to insufficient evidence, the girls' accusations never made it to court. Sadly, these documents didn't mention the name of the accusing girl. Although Carl and the gang got some leads, they didn't seem very valuable unless they could find that Dr. Court. Back at the precinct, the chief told Carl that the only suspect, Charles, had vanished into thin air. He's like a ghost. Now he couldn't be found anywhere in Europe. Even the chief suspected he might not be alive anymore, but Carl thought he might be using a fake identity. Moreover, they had linked Charles to the 3 bodies through Dr. Court. Regardless of whether he's the killer, he's definitely involved. Upon hearing Dr. Court's name, the chief exclaimed in surprise he knew him, the man who runs a research center and is Denmark's leading infertility expert. Ironically, the doctor once accused of performing involuntary surgeries on women is now a renowned fertility specialist. What a twist. After learning the details, Carl and his assistant hurried to Dr. Court, who said he only recalled the 2 victims being near Charles, nothing more. He hadn't seen Charles in over 30 years, so he had no clue why Charles would off these 3 victims. Carl asked Court again about the accusations, and it was starting to look like a puzzle. Don't go anywhere. There's more thrilling drama ahead. If you want to know more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest story updates.